Train Your Mind Like a Millionaire, a cinematic, motivational speech inspired by Napoleon Hill. They don't teach this in schools, not in the classrooms, not in the seminars, not in the boardrooms where most decisions are made. But every self-made millionaire, every titan of their industry, every name we remember long after the noise fades, they all learned this one truth. The mind is not just a tool. It is the battlefield. It is the factory. It is the gatekeeper. And either you train it or Train Your Mind Like a Millionaire, Part 2, continues directly from the previous section. Every morning you wake up is a negotiation, a battle between the voice that whispers comfort and the one that demands greatness. That first decision, to rise or to delay, echoes through your day. And millionaires? They win the morning before the world even wakes up. Not because they're superhuman, but because they have trained their minds to respond with power instead of passivity. They know success isn't something you stumble into. It's engineered mentally first. Success is not about luck, it's about pattern recognition. And the pattern is always the same: clarity, relentless execution. You see, the average person wakes up reacting to life, scrolling, checking, waiting, wishing. But the millionaire wakes up already creating, already becoming. They do not wait for permission to feel motivated. They don't wait for the right time, because they know this: the right time is a myth. The mind makes the time right. Napoleon Hill said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But he left us something deeper than just inspiration. He left us a process, a code. You want to train your mind like a millionaire? Then first, demand clarity. What do you want? Not what the world told you to want. Not what your parents, friends, or society say is realistic. What does your soul burn for? Because if the answer is vague, your results will be too. You cannot hit a target you cannot see. Millionaires obsess over precision. They know exactly what their goal looks like. They write it. They speak it. They see it every single day. They build the image before they build the income. Because the subconscious mind, like fertile soil, only grows what you plant. And if you don't plant vision, the weeds of doubt will take root. Next comes belief, the engine, the heartbeat of achievement. You don't get what you wish for. You get what you believe you deserve. Because a trained mind doesn't wait for results to believe. It believes until the results arrive. And that belief, that commitment, that unshakable force of action, it's what turns ordinary humans into legends. It's what built empires from ashes. It's what took people from rags to riches, not because they had more talent, but because they had more resolve. Resolve to keep going when others stopped. Resolve to build even when nothing was working. Resolve to act without emotion, without validation, without delay. Millionaires don't chase perfection, they chase execution. Imperfect progress beats perfect procrastination, every time. They don't waste their time overthinking, they get in motion, because motion builds confidence, and confidence builds more motion. You cannot think your way into greatness, you must act your way into it, over and over until the actions become identity, and the identity becomes destiny. Because the version of you who has the wealth, the freedom, the impact, they already exist, but they do not exist at your current level of thought. You must upgrade your internal thermostat. Not someday, not later, now. And then comes the next crucial piece: environment. Your mind is powerful, yes, but it is also programmable. And if you keep surrounding yourself with negativity, distraction, low ambition, small thinking, then your mind will shrink to fit the room it's in. Millionaires curate their environments with military precision. They protect their energy, they protect their inputs. They choose their conversations like they choose their investments, carefully and strategically. You cannot grow in a garden full of weeds. You cannot rise while swimming in mediocrity. Who you surround yourself with is either reinforcing your future or reinforcing your past. Cut the noise, mute the doubts, starve the distractions, and immerse yourself in those who pull you forward. Books, mentors, audio, silence, whatever builds you, you feed it. Because the environment doesn't just shape your mind, it shapes your future. Now listen closely. There is no wealth without learning, but not the kind of learning that clutters you, the kind that activates you. Millionaires are students of patterns, psychology, performance, money, power. They are constantly upgrading, refining, sharpening. And what makes them different? They implement what they learn immediately. They don't wait to feel ready. They don't hoard knowledge. They don't confuse consumption with progress. They study with purpose. They learn with urgency. They execute with intensity. That course you haven't finished, that book you half read, that strategy you never acted on, that's the gap between where you are and where you say you want to be. Millionaires don't just know what to do, they do it. Day in, day out, without applause, without permission, without guarantees. Because the version of you who has the wealth, the freedom, the impact, they already exist. But they do not exist at your current level of thought. You must upgrade your internal thermostat. Not someday, not later. Now. And then comes the next crucial piece: environment. Your mind is powerful, yes, but it is also programmable. And if you keep surrounding yourself with negativity, distraction, low ambition, small thinking, then your mind will shrink to fit the room it's in. Millionaires curate their environments with military precision. They protect their energy, they protect their inputs. They choose their conversations like they choose their investments, carefully and strategically. You cannot grow in a garden full of weeds. You cannot rise while swimming in mediocrity. Who you surround yourself with is either reinforcing your future or reinforcing your past. Cut the noise, mute the doubts, starve the distractions, and immerse yourself in those who pull you forward. Books, mentors, audio, silence, whatever builds you, you feed it. Because the environment doesn't just shape your mind, it shapes your future. Now listen closely. There is no wealth without learning, but not the kind of learning that clutters you, the kind that activates you. Millionaires are students of patterns, psychology, performance, money, power. They are constantly upgrading, refining, sharpening. And what makes them different? They implement what they learn immediately. They don't wait to feel ready. They don't hoard knowledge. They don't confuse consumption with progress. They study with purpose. They learn with urgency. They execute with intensity. That course you haven't finished, that book you half read, that strategy you never acted on, that's the gap between where you are and where you say you want to be. Millionaires don't just know what to do, they do it. Day in, day out, without applause, without permission, without guarantees. Every time you hit snooze, the average version wins. Every time you shrink your dreams to fit your doubts, the mediocre identity takes root. But every time you stand up, every time you act with courage, every time you do the hard thing when the easy road is calling, you are building the millionaire mind. You are building the real you. Do you understand what that means? It means success is not outside of you. It was never outside of you. It was waiting. Waiting for the version of you who finally decided, no more half effort, no more excuses, no more negotiating with weakness. I am done living on autopilot. I am done thinking small. I'm done being a slave to distraction, fear, and doubt. From this day forward, you train your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. You train it to focus, to persist, to execute, to believe. You speak only what builds. You think only what serves. You act only in alignment with the person you are becoming. You stop asking if it will be hard. It will be. You stop waiting for the right moment. It's now. You stop apologizing for your ambition, and you let the fire burn louder than their doubts. You are no longer an observer in your own life. You are the author. You are the sculptor. You are the storm. And in the end, when the world looks at you and calls you lucky, you'll smile. Because you'll know, this was never luck. This was a trained mind, a relentless heart, a belief so unshakable it bent the world into shape. That is the millionaire path. That is the code. And now it's yours. Now go build. Millionaires don't become successful and then see themselves differently. They see themselves differently first, and that vision pulls them through every storm. You must stop asking, what do I need to do? And start asking, who do I need to become? So now we arrive at the truth. Not a quote, not a tactic, not a hack, but the raw, undeniable law that underwrites every fortune, every empire, every transformation. You are not your habits. You are not your past. You are not your circumstances. You are the architect of all three. And the mind is your blueprint. Everything that you seek, wealth, purpose, freedom, legacy, it is already possible. Not because the world owes you, but because you were born with the power to shape your world. That power lives in your focus, in your discipline, in your belief, in the thoughts you repeat, in the visions you hold, in the actions you take, especially when it's hard, especially when no one is watching. The millionaire mind doesn't just ask, "Can I?" It says, "I will." It speaks in absolutes, because every doubt you allow in delays your results. But belief is not blind. Belief is built. Every time you take action, even when it's hard, even when it's slow, you are stacking evidence. Evidence that you're not who you used to be. Evidence that your word matters, that your will is stronger than your weakness. It's not about massive leaps every day. It's about momentum. Tiny, disciplined moves that compound into empires. Discipline, the word most run from, the one millionaires run toward. Not because it's glamorous, not because it's easy, but because it's the only thing that separates intention from transformation. While most wait to feel inspired, millionaires know discipline is inspiration in motion. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want right now. Discipline is going to the gym when your body says no. Studying when the world is partying, building when no one sees it, speaking your vision even when your voice shakes. And let me tell you this, you cannot be casual with your future. Casual effort produces a casual life, but a life on fire, a life of legacy, that requires obsession, precision, repetition. Millionaires don't practice discipline because they're bored. They practice it because they know that the external world bends to the internal one. And until your thoughts are in alignment with your actions and your actions with your vision, you will always feel torn, pulled, scattered. But when alignment happens, there's no force on earth that can stop you. Not rejection, not fear, not setbacks. Because a trained mind doesn't ask if it will happen. It expects it. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. There is a hidden force more powerful than motivation, more enduring than inspiration, more decisive than knowledge. It is identity. You will never outwork the identity you've accepted, because the mind always finds a way to stay consistent with who it believes you are. If you still see yourself as average, as small, as unlucky, as someone who tries but never becomes, then no strategy in the world will save you. But once you train your mind to accept a new identity, one of power, control, vision, and worth, then the entire game changes, because identity shapes behavior, and behavior shapes destiny. Vision isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Without it, you drift. With it, you dominate. Vision is the lens that filters your decisions. It tells you what to say no to. It gives you something bigger than your excuses, louder than your fear, and stronger than your comfort. A millionaire does not need the outside world to validate their vision, because their belief was not born in applause. It was born in solitude, in silence, in struggle. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. Oprah was fired from television. Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Their visions were not accepted by the world. They imposed them on it. Your vision will be mocked. It will be questioned. It will be doubted, even by those closest to you. But if it's strong enough, clear enough, and fed daily with discipline and belief, it will survive the storm. And that storm, that resistance, it's not your enemy, it's your proving ground. Now we enter the territory most people fear, persistence, the gritty, thankless, invisible grind, where progress is slow, the audience is absent, and the reward is still far off. This is the part that separates the dreamers from the doers, where motivation dies and character is revealed. Persistence is where your old self begins to die. It's where your mind says, "No one is watching. This isn't working. Quit." And your trained mind responds, "Exactly. Keep going." Because success is rarely a lightning strike. It's the buildup, the drip, the silent compounding of invisible work. You think Elon Musk wasn't laughed at for launching rockets? You think Steve Jobs didn't question himself after being fired from his own company? They persisted, not because it was easy, but because their vision was bigger than their pain. And yours must be too. But here's a secret they don't tell you in the highlight reels. Gratitude is the fuel that sustains the fire. When you are thankful for the process, thankful for the struggle, thankful for the lessons hidden in the losses, you become unstoppable. Because now, nothing is wasted. Not failure, not rejection, not time. Everything becomes part of the build. And what about adversity? What about the darkness, the pain, the moments that break most people? Here's where the millionaire mind shines. Because it does not run from adversity. It trains for it. It expects it. It welcomes it. Adversity is not a wall. It's a mirror. It shows you who you really are, what you really believe, and how badly you really want it. Anyone can talk success. Anyone can feel good when the numbers are rising, the applause is loud, and the doors are open. But who are you when the doors close? When the account is empty? When the results stall, the pressure builds, and the voice in your head says, "This isn't worth it." A trained mind doesn't crumble. It recalibrates. It sharpens its vision. It tightens its discipline. It adapts. Adversity is the invitation to evolve, and millionaires RSVP with fire in their eyes.